Hello there, and welcome to episode 50 of the video game podcast, PlayStation Pals. Before we get into the show, we have a special announcement. We have the YouTube page now. It's up. People can watch videos of it. Of the show. They can watch us react to the PlayStation Showcase. So go there and subscribe. It is at PlayStation Pals on YouTube. And if you want to see our beautiful faces too, that is an added bonus. So.
And just for clarity, because I did not know this, it's the @ symbol, right? YouTube.com/ the @ symbol PlayStation Pals, correct?
Correct, yes.
Right. So, because I know we live in a Twitter world and things where you say @ and you just kind of ignore the @ sign, but
right.
I should probably know more about social media. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know.
All right. So yes, check us out there. And who is that talking? Well, that's the Genki to my Miles Morales, John. I'm your host, Nick, and this is PlayStation Pals, a video game podcast. This is all going to be about the PlayStation Showcase, so there will still have the 6 things and everything else, but it's all going to be the PlayStation Showcase. So we're going to kick things off, John. A week ago, we were hyped. We were excited.
Yes.
This PlayStation Showcase has been 20 months since the first Sony one. Here we are. What are your thoughts on the showcase?
You know, I made a comment, I think, the start of last stream that we had before the showcase started, that I was feeling fantastic because I had sky-high expectations and sky-high confidence that those expectations were going to be met. They let me down hard. I think I made a comment that Honkai Star Rail would be like what I would hope would be the bottom floor of like the games that were coming, and this was just one of the most confusing things that Sony has done in a while. To take a quick step back, it's not that the games that were in the showcase were bad. I think there was a lot of good stuff there. There's a lot of games I want to play. But it's simply the branding and the expectations that come when you say PlayStation Showcase, when this is the third one of those we've ever gotten, and the ones in the past, we've seen games like Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon, Last of Us. Like, you see all of these things, so we come to expect that level. And so when you go through an entire showcase that's being hyped that has this perfect storm of 20 months of no communication, one project by a first-party team that is confirmed to be there. You have previous showcases that have brought the heat. When you add all that stuff together, you have to be at that top-tier level. And so I don't think I hyped myself up to unrealistic expectations. I think this was just a miss on Sony's part, and it could have, frankly, been a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that you would say Sony's going to have a showcase. They're going to bring over 30 games, and you're going to come away disappointed?
Right.
Like, what?
Right.
Because, it did do the job of selling us Spider-Man 2. We expected that. But it failed on other areas. What all are your other studios doing, especially in the single-player department?
Yeah.
And then also sell us on PlayStation VR 2, which it did not do at all either.
Right.
So, when going into this thing, we were all hyped. We thought Last of Us Factions, Sony Ben's new game, and all that stuff. And while we did get some new first-party studio games, as we'll get into later, they were all the same game.
Right.
They're all multiplayer experiences. And of all 30-plus games, I think we only got like 5 to 6 dates. Nothing else is dated.
Yeah.
So if you're talking this showcase, it's been 20 months. This is going to speak for the next probably year and a half of Sony if they don't do another showcase. That what are we supposed to be excited for? And it just sucked that we didn't get what we wanted at all.
Yeah, and like you said, this was kind of being propped out as Phase 2, the start of Phase 2. This is going to set everybody up for in my opinion, I think the first 3 years of PS5 have been pretty great. I think getting games like Ragnarok and Forbidden West and Returnal and Miles Morales, like we've had a pretty good time so far. And I gotta say, this is the first time in a long time since maybe the PS3 era where I have had a little bit of wavering in my confidence in Sony. I think these single player games are still there. I think that they're coming, but it is hard not to feel a little nervous when you see a showcase and your first party teams are giving you a 3-on-3 heist game that's live service, and then another CG trailer that is apparently another live service game. You hear things like 60% of our budget is now being developed for live service, and it's just, I understand the reason. I will never sit up here and say that a company's main motivation isn't to make the most amount of money. Of course it is. That's why they are in the business. However, at what cost? And I just worry that they're starting to chase the wrong trends. They're starting to go into areas of the business that aren't really their wheelhouse. Yep. And I understand some of the purchases and acquisitions that have happened in the past year, Bungie being the big one, but these other teams like Firewalk and Haven, were brought in for specific reasons and purposes, and those purposes were not to fill the same gap that Sucker Punch and Sony Santa Monica and Naughty Dog already do. Right. It's to go somewhere else, and that's great. But, why did we have a showcase now? If you're not going to show us dates, if you're not going to show us gameplay, if you're not going to, get us excited for the next phase, let alone the rest of the year, it was a confusing message that I feel like they were trying to give the fans.
Yeah, I wonder if they just felt the pressure because, we are in Summer Game Fest, typically E3 season. In 2 weeks from now, there will be an Xbox showcase, and Summer Game Fest will kick off officially. Maybe they just thought, we have to show. We're the leading console right now in terms of sales, and we're doing really well in every area of the business. Well, let's have a big blowout of what's coming, but
then branded an extended state of play. That's the kind of thing. Is I've really tuned my ear into the industry in probably the past 10 years or so, where if you really pay attention to this shit, you realize that every piece of PR that comes out, every piece of verbiage from a CEO's mouth is curated and checked upon and verified to be the exact thing you want to say. So when you message out, this is a PlayStation showcase, I expect to see PlayStation party games.
Right.
So, and if that's not what you have, then just I wish companies were just a little bit more forthright with their consumers. And I know there's reasons why you can't do that. But if they were just come out and say, look, we have a special extended state of play, from a lot of our third-party partners, we hope to show you maybe what one or two of our teams have been working on that we're excited about. Great. Then we're all going to kind of be like, but where's the showcase? And they're going to be like, it's coming when we're ready. And we're all going to be like, meh. And then we're going to watch it and be fine. At least me. But I also know the video game community and fandom, there's a lot of hard people to please. So
yeah,
you're right. It could be a rock and a hard place situation. It's just it feels bad for the first time on the other end of one of these showcases, and I don't like it. Yeah. I don't like that feeling.
Yeah, it kind of reminds us of last summer. The running theme was horrible showcase after horrible showcase. Yeah. Why even have these? Why even have these? And then it feels like we got.
Don't worry, Sony will save us.
Yeah, we got the Game Awards, and we're all high on these kind of big industry events. Because, we got Hades 2 and Judas and everything at the Game Awards. And then now we're here again. And we thought, Sony's got to bring it. They got to have the games. And they don't.
Do you think there's a possibility that Sony is being weirdly strategic with how they're doing this? Because they're so far ahead that they say, well, look, we can have a showcase, get some eyes on us. We'll put it a couple weeks ahead of the other big things. And then we can sprinkle in some stuff throughout the year. Do you think that's possible, or do you think we're just going to have to wait for the next showcase / state of play that might have something we're all hoping to see?
Well, I mean, the industry insiders, the Tom Hendersons and the Snitch, they have brought up that there's more to show that wasn't here. Right. That there are other games, and they don't know why they weren't here. And again, this big acquisition of Activision Blizzard, is that why Sony didn't really put the foot down on Microsoft's throat as far as exclusives and games and all that stuff? That's why they kind of wanted a mediocre showcase? I don't know, but...
Yeah, it almost does kind of have that feeling that, the landscape has changed so drastically in the past month with the Activision Blizzard stuff and the Redfall fiasco. Xbox feelings are at an all-time low. Maybe they go, hey, let's course correct. Let's throw in Cat Quest, Pirates of the Caribbean instead of.
Hey, don't you make fun of Cat Quest, all right?
Hey, I'm not gonna make fun. It looks cute. It looks fun. But maybe we throw in some of these kind of games into the mix because we don't we're gonna start having a loss of returns, right? Of just excitement and things when we don't really. There's no reason, at least if. In my opinion, that anybody would want an Xbox versus a PS5 right now. So we don't need to keep going down that path. Let's show them, some live servicey stuff and then save that for when it's going to You know, when we need to take some wind out of the sails if Starfield's great, or when we need to, you know, post a video after the Xbox showcase. I don't know. That's very conspiratorial. It's just I'm trying to look for rhymes and reasons into this thing because, again, it was a confusing show that they put together. Again, I don't think it was horrible, but it was in the terms of the expectations that were set based on the verbiage of what it was.
All right, so let's get to your review. Out of 5 being perfect, a perfect showcase, and 1 being absolute trash, where are you ranking this? What are you going to give it?
Well, it was a 1 until they saw foam stars.
Okay.
No, this is a 2. This is a 2 out of 5.
Okay.
This is a bad to okay showcase. And again, I don't mean to keep reiterating the same thing, but it all comes down to the expectations that we have for the branding, and I think it was defined by what was not there versus what was there. Spider-Man looks great. I like indie games. Sword of the Sea, you know, the whatever the sequel to the Giant Squid, the next game they're working on, it looks cool. I'm excited for that stuff. But the fact that Factions was not here, which I think we'll probably talk a little bit more about later.
Yeah.
I would have bet $1,000 that we would have seen Factions. You know, the faith that I have in, you know, Naughty Dog is unrivaled, and the fact that it wasn't there is crazy. And you know, and again, if you're going to have this live servicey blowout, right? This is kind of like Sony's coming out party with live service. We've been hearing for a while now. We have 10 games in development that are going to be out by 2026. It's about time we start seeing these things. But similarly to how Sony has gained the confidence of their consumers with first-party titles, we know if a first-party game's coming out as single player, it's going to be at least very good.
Right.
I feel like they missed an opportunity to come out and show Factions as that title that says, don't worry, we have the Sony feel, the Sony quality, the Sony everything behind it, so that when everything else that's announced afterwards, Concord, I always forget the name, Fair Games. I cannot get that name in my head. When those stuff are showed, we can go, okay, well, we've already at least seen proof that they know what they're doing with Factions. But I guess, you know, if it's not ready, you can't bring it. But again, this just kind of comes back into that, well, why have the showcase now type thing.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So it's a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm with you. 2 out of 5. You know, and it's all on expectations, like you said. Once you put add showcase to it, you know, even when we last official podcast, we went through the 2021 showcase. That was entirely different. That was a much better showcase than this. So,
I mean, you got Knights of the Old Republic. You had Spider-Man. You had Wolverine. You had a God of War Ragnarok trailer. It's just like this showcase didn't need 5 Sony first-party games to be shown, but it needed 1 or 2 more. It needed something else there that we could pin our hats on besides Spider-Man to say, oh man, I got to go home and see if my friends saw this trailer.
Yeah.
You know, and some people might argue Metal Gear Solid 3 is that, but not the way that was shown also.
Right. Yep.
Just so many CG trailers, so few dates, just not how they typically do these things.
Yeah. I mean, watch our reaction video. We did not get very excited at all during the whole thing, and we're the biggest, you know, Sony fanboys on the planet. So, you know, that says a lot. So we've been mentioning it. Let's get into the big first-party game announcements. There were 3 of them from Haven, who's doing Fair Games, Bungie, who's doing Marathon, and Firewalk Studios, which is doing Concord. Let's start with Haven's game first. It led the show. It opened it. It looks to be a 3v3v3 heist game where we don't know what the perspective is. It was a CG trailer, but it looked a lot like Watch Dogs. It had a lot of future tech, a lot of future devices, the masks, everything looked right out of Watch Dogs Legion. And in this trailer, you know, a bunch of people are just robbing a building, and you know they're going in solo at first, 3 people, and then they run into another squad of people, who then runs into another squad of people, and we got our first competitive multiplayer game, specifically coming from Sony. John, what did you think of this game?
It's hard to say because without gameplay, you know, I've learned my lesson. But I will say it looks of quality, you know, based on at least just the CG that we saw. You know, obviously it would be weird if you put out a shitty-looking CG trailer. But, you know, it's not for me. And it seems very similar to a lot of other games that are out there. Like, this is kind of the one game that I would look to if I were to say if I were to accuse Sony of chasing trends, which I think can be a very risky thing to do. There was that game that was announced last year from Creative Assembly, Hyenas, which seems to be a very similar thing. It's bright colors, it's heist-based, it's probably PvPvE. PvPvE seems to be the new hotness, man. Like, if it's not an extraction shooter,
hotness
it's
like,
is well, yeah.
What was that Hood Outlaws game?
Yeah, but it's just like, it seems like teams now are like, well, we want a multiplayer game. Okay, it can't just be team deathmatch. It can't just be free for all. There has to be this weird thing you're trying to do with this other thing that's happening that you have to like exoprimal, right? Where it's like you're competing against this other team while you're also facing these things, and it's like it can be fun, but as we're probably going to talk about for the next year to 5 years on this show, there's only so much space for these kind of games, and the fact that Sony saw this game and then decided they wanted to purchase Haven, I really got to see what this game plays like, because it to me, it didn't look like it was doing anything revolutionary. Yeah, sure. If you can play with the environments, like there was the one shot in the trailer where I think the guy like latched onto a piece of glass and started using it as a shield. Like that kind of stuff can be really cool if you have ways to interact with the environment, things like that. But just as a base game, though, I'm not excited for it. But if it's free to play, gonna check it out. That's the whole MO behind all this shit, I guess.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have a feeling we both will not like this game at all.
No.
I bet you if I was to place money on this game, it'll be kind of like Destruction All-Stars. It'll just come out, no big hype, nothing, gone, just forgotten about. There's just nothing about it that seemed even interesting to me. Like I said, we have Watch Dogs Legion, and that game's not that great either. And it probably does everything this is doing, and it's single player. And I don't know. We got to find another buddy to play this all the time, and it just.
Yeah, I mean, again, as time is the most valuable thing. Like, if Sony's plan is to have 10 concurrent live service games in production by 2026, 8 of those pretty much have to die. Like,
right.
That's just the nature of this genre and this space. Not to mention competing against the other ones that already exist. It's just going to be a bloodbath, and that's why I think something like Factions that's tied to an already existing IP with incredible amounts of love behind it, like that's your best shot for success. Not this.
Right.
The moment I saw a $sign as the S in the logo, I was like, nope. That's enough for me to know that it's not going to be my vibe.
Yeah, no. So, so not only does it have to compete against the Fortnites, the Apex Legends, and all that, it also has to compete with the other first-party studios, because Bungie went and announced their game here. It is Marathon. It is described as a PvP extraction shooter. I don't even know what that means.
I'll be honest with you.
At least... at least this one will be a little more. This one, at least the art direction was a little more better. Like it looked
a little more better. Real world wordsmith over here.
Sorry, it looked more exciting than the other game, but this one is not a console exclusive. For one, it's coming to Xbox. Xbox was very quick to tweet that out.
Yeah,
that this is also coming there. And again, we didn't see any gameplay at all. No release date. I mean, Bungie's obviously very proven. Like they're one of the greatest first-person video game developers out there. So I have no doubt that this game will feel really good and be fun. But it's still not my band.
No. I mean, yeah, this is the one that definitely has, I think, the highest chance to succeed, at least of what we've seen so far. For those who don't know, Bungie, creators of Halo, creators of Destiny. Marathon is actually their very first game that came out in 1994 on the Apple computer. So it's something that they're going back to, which I know people that played games way back in the day. They like that game. So, there's something to at least maybe pull on, from an aesthetic and narrative. I'm not sure. But, yeah, when they came out and they said, yeah, there's no campaign in this. I was like, okay, I guess there's another one.
Which is also a bummer because Bungie does very good campaigns.
Yeah, so. It's just as the theme. I think as we continue to talk about the show, Nick, my nervousness just kind of keeps going up a little bit. Just okay. But to their credit, they've kind of told us to get ready for this future that we were in. So
Yeah.
no, but again, it's hard to make a determination about a game that you don't see gameplay of. So could be cool when it comes out.
Well, certainly the third game will not follow the same suit, and that is Concord from Firewalk Studios. This trailer was just the ship flying through space and a jiggly hamburger, and you got to see some guns on a table.
Thick.
You got to see there was a sniper rifle and a gun on there, and you're just like, what is this? And then it's titled Concord. The PlayStation blog talked about it more, but here we go. PvP multiplayer first-person shooter. Like, okay, like, why are these all why announce these all at once? And because it's like we just mentioned, it's absurd. Mm-hmm. How is this going to be better than Bungie's Marathon?
I don't know. No, and then to hear Jim Ryan come on about how like we're so excited to offer the wide range of varied experiences that you can find on PlayStation, and then your 3 games from PlayStation, except for Spider-Man, is the same thing. This trailer pissed me off probably more than any other trailer in the game in the showcase, because it seemed like we weren't able to get the big bangers because they weren't ready to show.
Right.
But we're ready to show this.
Right.
Like from a team we just purchased like a month ago. It seemed like it was like Sony was coming out and just like trying to remind people, be like, look at the teams we just bought. Here's, like they don't have any reason to get excited about what they're doing.
Right.
So no, Concord, I guess at least they put the blog post out. But like, if you showed me that trailer, it could be a space sim game. It could be a first-person shooter. It could be a Mass Effect type thing. You don't know, and that's not a way to announce a game. That is not the way to get people to like be excited and want to learn more.
Yeah, it's just again.
Yeah, that one made me mad.
Again, if you were like, there are going to be 3 first-party video game announcements at a Sony Showcase, and not a single one of them is a single-player game, I would have said, you're fucking crazy. Like, that doesn't make any sense, but
no.
Here we are.
No, we're not going to release any multiplayer games for 10 years, and then that's all we're doing. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we've been pretty negative here, so let's move on. Third thing, 3 highlights from the show. We'll go one by one,
Sure.
And if we have any similar ones, we'll have us a boondoggle.
Yeah.
But, John, what is your first highlight that you actually did like in the show?
Sure. So, first game that kind of, got me to go, oh, sweet, that's cool that's there is Ghost Runner 2. Mm-hmm. I was pretty high on the first Ghost Runner. I haven't beaten it yet, but watching this trailer immediately made me re-download it. It's a quick game. It's only 3 to 4 hours, I think. But the first one is you play as a cyber ninja where you're basically going through a set level trying to take out the enemies flawlessly, right? It's kind of like Hotline Miami where if you get hit once, you're done. And you just quickly restart. Kind of almost like Neon White, too.
Yeah, that's...
So, it's hard as nails, but it feels really good when you string together the thing you need to string together. Okay. And it's not just like dash, dash, dash. It's like you're using a grappling hook over there. You're using an invisibility thing to go over there, wall run, slash, deflect bullet. And when this trailer came on, they're showing like this motorcycle thing too, which is like, so we're varying the gameplay up a decent amount. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just like kind of one of those smaller games that like came surprisingly good, might get a sequel, I don't know. And to see it exist is, I was pretty happy to see.
Okay. All right. My first highlight is Tower of Akabas. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, cool game, shitty name.
Yeah. This is looks like an open world farming game, but it's like mixed with like Breath of the Wild. Like you kind of build a village, you kind of repopulate with animals and all kinds of things. And that trailer got pretty gnarly. He was riding weird mounts. There was weird animals. There were giant flying whales that he went on to. He glided on just like out of something Breath of the Wild and grabbed some resources. And I don't know. That game looks like it can be fun. It can be something different than what we're used to playing, and just out of nowhere, dreamlit games.
Yeah. I kind of got the sense that this is like an open world survival game set with like 3 AAA expectations. Like,
right.
Anytime you get like one of these survival games, like Don't Starve or Stardew Valley's not survival, but it's farming simulator, that kind of stuff. It's usually more indie, more budget looking, and this one looks like it has a decent amount of polish, a big world to explore. I'm definitely curious to learn more about this one. I don't know if I'm into like town building mechanics,
Right.
but like if there's like a nice combat angle whilst collecting things to bring them back to a town to like just kind of feed in a nice fun loop, could be cool.
Yeah.
Could be cool.
It's coming out in 2024, so we will not be seeing that anytime soon. So,
All right.
all right.
Second one for me is a game we've already known about, but it just looks so nice and pleasant and joyful, and that's the Plucky Squire. This is a game that, you start in a 2D storybook, kind of playing a side-scrolling thing, and then you seem to have the ability to be able to jump out of the pages and start exploring a 3D world, and I love that kind of stuff. I'm still a kid at heart. I still love Astrobot, It Takes Two, things like that, where it's like, yeah, it might have a kid aesthetic to it, but that doesn't mean it's like only for. It's not for kids. I think you should leave, Joe. It's just gonna be one of those games that I don't think is gonna be incredibly frustrating. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna have my fun 10 to 12 hours. It's gonna be really pretty, and might be able to play with my son or something like that. So I wish I prepped more and I had the name of the development team for you and when it's coming out. I think it just got a 2023 placeholder date.
Yeah. Nothing got a release date.
Yeah, so like I wouldn't be surprised if this is one that gets pushed back, but this is from All Possible Futures is the developer, which I think this is their first game, because when you go to their website, it's literally just says The Plucky Squire. So, but yeah, I think it looks fun, looks cute.
Okay. All right, and my next highlight is Alan Wake 2. I keep forgetting about this game. Control is easily one of our favorite games.
It's on the list, top 50.
Yeah, but it's not on the top 50 list, was it?
I'm pretty.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was in 40 through 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
If not, I'm
I
sorry.
butchered the federal baloo of Control.
The federal baloo.
Yeah, when we were talking about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it looked really good. It looked incredible. It looks like you're playing multiple characters, third-person camera. Just looked good, and it's coming this year, and October 19th. To play a horror game in October, that's pretty sweet. Like to get that all worked out.
Yeah, I don't know why every scary game doesn't release in October. Like, yeah, it's just the time to do it.
Yeah. It just looked great, and the AAA. Well, yeah, a AAA game that we can look forward to this fall. There's kind of not a lot to talk about as far as release dates, but you got this, and you got Mortal Kombat 1, and
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a date. I'm just saying. Yeah, this one I'm pretty very man. Look at me, I'm a wordsmith too. Pretty excited about as well. I never played the original. I've heard it is a series that has incredible storytelling and a really cool environment and world with some lackluster gameplay.
Yeah. Pretty
so
much.
anytime you see that statement, that's usually pretty encouraging when you see a sequel come back, because the development team knows that same thing. They're going to go back and they're going to focus on that and make that better. Because the thing about this game is you use your flashlight to spot a ghost, and once you do that, then you can kill it, right?
Yeah.
So if you can make that, modernize the controls, make it feel better with that same spooky environment that it obviously seems like they're nailing based on the trailer, like, it should be. Yeah. I think it's going to be a sleeper hit this fall.
For sure. Though it does have one weird thing, is it is a digital-only game. And as you know, John and I are physical video game buyers, so that's the only thing, is because if one of us buys it, now I can't let John play it too. So
yeah, I mean, did you see THQ Nordic's offering to help? Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, THQ Nordic, I guess, has offered to help bring it physical. So I don't know if there's any, I'm sure there's all sorts of backroom board dealings, like, well, I want a cut of it now and all this stuff, but it does seem like they're trying to do it. There's also companies out there like Limited Run Games that might be willing, but yeah, I don't like that.
No,
I don't. I mean, they're positioning it in a way which I appreciate, I guess, where they're saying, because we're not doing a physical edition, it allows us to basically pass the savings on to the player, where the PC version's only $50 and the console versions are $60, so they don't have to bump it up to that 70 range. But I don't know. I don't like that. No. You guys better hope that they'd never decide to take away Alan Wake 2 from you, because then you won't be able to play it. But yeah, should be good. All right. Then my last one is another sequel, and that is Dragon's Dogma 2. Okay. I think this is coming from Capcom Games, sequel to a 2014 Dragon's Dogma.
I don't remember,
something like that. One of those early generation games, but. It fits my vibe very, very well of big hulking, scary monster dragon things. Open world with very pretty graphics. I played the first one a little bit. I never beat it, but from what I remember, it was had some very unique systems in place. Was that the game with the palicos? Or like there was the
pawns.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were called. You have like little AI controlled buddies, and you can pull other people's into your world, and they'll generate money for the player you took them from, and all kinds of stuff.
So there could be some interesting ways to kind of play around with that. But I think I remarked to Nick on the stream that like there's just nothing cooler than a fucking badass dragon. Like it's just like I don't dragons can get annoying playing through a game like Elden Ring. Usually when you see them, you're like, oh right, like there's one of these fuckers that's just gonna swoop in, hit me with some fire, and I gotta hope I can run away fast. But when the game's gonna center around those, I think you're gonna have some pretty awesome big hulking boss fights in that game, and Capcom is the hottest developer around right now. So
True.
It's gonna be an improvement on what we already got.
All right, and then my final highlight is a thing that made us say wow on the stream, and that was Phantom Blade Zero, which they coined the term Kung Fu Punk. So I'm all in for that. No?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know about that.
No?
It sounds cool, but that screams to me a CEO that's just trying to be cool with the kids.
It's a third-person action game that looks to have a samurai feel with a cyberpunk aesthetic. It looks like it's feudal Japan, but there are robots and other weird contraptions. It looked very flashy. Like some of the sword fights, I don't know how you play it as a player, but the player-controlled character is like fending off multiple guys at once, swinging his sword all over the place like crazy. The animation just looked really good, and then it had I would say like it's God of War moments. You're riding a cart, fighting two guys off, and then another guy jumped on the cart, and I don't know. It just came out of nowhere from S Game, and I don't know. It's on my radar now.
This is definitely one to keep an eye on. And I would say if there was a game that stole the show that wasn't Spider-Man 2, at least based on just the scuttlebutt around the internet and things, it was this one. Like, people saw this and kind of had that same reaction of like, wow, what is this? This looks awesome. But I would caution everybody just to, not to feed into the hype too much, because I do think there is some cause for concern with this one, just based on the fact that S Games is only I'm a realist, all right? They've only done mobile games.
Yeah.
So that's number one.
Okay.
They've come out and they've said that they've spent the past 10 years trying to perfect a combat system that allows you to do flashy, quick moves with minimal button inputs. Don't know if that's really my thing. Of course they're coming out and saying like, oh yeah, there's tons of depth and all that stuff too. But it was just one of those games that looked so good that I got a little like, I turned on my critical eye and just like, how is that going to play though?
Right,
and so if they can nail that, if they can, make it fluid, fun, fast combat with the ability to parry, stab,
right,
could be dope.
Yeah, no, that's there. So now this is a roller coaster, folks. We were down, we got up on the highlights, but now we're gonna go to the lowlights. So each of us are gonna bring 3 things that we did not like about the showcase. And I'll go first on this one because I wonder if this will be a boondoggle right here. It is Foam Stars.
I intentionally didn't put it on because I knew you would.
This is a third-person multiplayer game from Square Enix, of all people, in which, if you're familiar with the Splatoon franchise from Nintendo, where instead of just shooting at each other, the objective is to paint the map in your colors. This is very similar, where you have to fill up the map with your color soap. What?
No, nothing. Continue.
And you do that with, special abilities, big soap guns. There were people, and as the soap fills the map, it was kind of changing the topography. Like the map was getting higher up, and people were surfing on the suds. It just looked really bad. I'm still wondering if Lynn was on the soundtrack though. So the music was great.
Lynn, yeah.
but the game looked horrible. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the color scheme, the way that there was no sharp edges with the foam, so it just all blended together. It did look pretty gross.
Yeah.
And I just, I understand Splatoon is huge. I think it's one of the biggest games in Japan. They fucking love it over there. But I just can't see this taking off in any stretch of the imagination. I got to bring it up because I thought it was so funny, but we were watching the IGN impressions of the stream, and one of the guys goes, well, it was a 5, and then it got brought up to a 9 when they showed foam stars. And he was serious. I was like, okay. But no, this one, it looks not for me at all.
No.
And, it'll be dead within a week probably.
Yep, so. For sure.
All right. So I'll just get this one out of the way because we've already kind of talked about it. Concord. That trailer just pissed me off. When you see that PlayStation Studios logo, when you see it, I think you shushed me. You're like, no, shush.
Yeah.
Here it comes. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then to not have any idea what it is afterwards is just simply unacceptable for me in a PlayStation Showcase.
Yeah, it's the worst form of trailer ever.
Yeah.
No gameplay, not even an inkling of what it's about, but yeah.
From a new team we've never seen anything from. So, that was just a bummer.
All right, so my second low light, we haven't really talked about it, but Metal Gear is a big franchise to me. I really love that franchise. There was a period where I would have told you that was my favorite franchise.
Yeah, and when I knew you said that same thing.
And going into the show, we knew Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake was going to be there. And we did get it. Metal Gear Solid Delta is a remake of 3, and it is the worst trailer I've ever seen in my life. It's
not as bad as Concord.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. It's a bunch of animals killing each other, and then just a zoom in on Snake's face at the very end. You don't even get David Hayter, the voice actor who plays Snake's, talking. You don't even get what the game looks like, what the game plays like. We know what Metal Gear Solid 3 is, but what is this looking like? Who's making it? Is Konami even publishing it? Because Konami's name wasn't even on the trailer, so it's like
they have something to do with it because they tweeted out some screenshots.
Oh yeah,
later,
I mean
but
after the fact they
did,
but it's just like that's not how you show this game. As we just mentioned, CG trailers are the fucking worst, and CG trailer for this should have blown people's minds. If you weren't following the internets and all that stuff, you weren't aware of the rumors of the game. This should have been an awesome jaw-dropping moment. There's so many amazing things about Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, and they weren't here. And I don't know.
Yeah,
it took the wind out of its sails right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, it should be almost a crime when you post a game of this magnitude and then just kind of tell us nothing. Like, there's a couple things in this whole show. Again, confusing show. Like, no date for Spider-Man 2. No, not even who's making this game. It just it all felt so slapdashly put together. But I will say one thing that at least I think the trailer kind of confirmed that is exciting. Maybe not confirmed, but I think it's likely is that they are not calling this Metal Gear Solid 3. They're calling this Metal Gear Solid Delta, which kind of leads me to believe that they're chasing the Capcom Resident Evil remake thing.
Yep.
Starting with the beginning of the franchise, that's cool. We're going to do this chronologically. So, like, if that's the idea, great. But, yeah, without the right team behind it, they got to prove something, which is a crazy statement to make with a game like Metal Gear Solid 3. Like, it's been proven. It's one of the greats. But without Kojima... without seeing it, like you still gotta prove it.
Yeah, and they did not.
No.
Oh well.
All right, so this one's kind of a cheating one, but I'm gonna just title it "The Lack of." Right.
Okay.
So the lack of release dates, the lack of first-party titles, and the lack of gameplay. Those three things, I cannot believe that they approve this showcase with everything. Like besides Spider-Man and Helldivers, I can't really think of much gameplay at all.
No, just the third. Alan Wake 2 and Assassin's Creed as far as the big games.
Yeah, I think like Immortals of Avium they showed some, but like these are all titles that we've known about, and just I've gotten a little like annoyed with games media in the past couple days or past day since this has aired because it's just it seems like everybody's just Metal Gear Solid 3's here, yay! Concord looks cool. It's like what are you talking about? Like we've been burned so many people. Gamers have such a short-term memory. I feel like
you reminded me of when Todd Howard was out promoting Fallout 76, and everyone was kind of down on that, and he used the we're working on the next Elder Scrolls game, and it was just a title card and a flyby over land, and I was just like, and people were like, "Oh, this is a great showcase," and you're like, "No,
No, you're an idiot. You're idiots. You fell for it. You got duped.
Yeah, that doesn't tell us anything. And when is Elder Scrolls 6 coming out? God knows when.
No.
You know, like
Dude, they talked about Fallout 5. Like, it's just dumb. But so, the release dates, the gameplay, first party titles we've already talked about, so I don't need to touch on that. And then just the lack of release dates. The fact that Spider-Man had a 12-minute trailer and we don't have a concrete date yet it's we've talked about it on the show. The industry has shifted drastically over COVID, over games like Cyberpunk coming out and just getting lambasted with issues and losing a lot of faith with the audience and the audience with the team, CD Projekt Red in this specific instance. So I can understand them doing the same thing with Insomniac, but like, if they're coming out after the trailer and saying like, no, we're still confident with fall 2023, it's like we're all good with like 1 to 2 to 3 month delays. So
right.
If you don't, if I don't, just throw the date on it. I don't know, man. Like, I don't like it when things get dated way far away. I get that, but we shouldn't be within a 4-month span. 4 to 5 to 6 months and not know the date that a Sony first-party game, the
right.
closer of the show, when it's coming out, that we've known about for 2 years now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So, yeah, definitely a bummer for sure. And then my last low light is very similar to what you just said, and that is, I don't want a PSVR 2 still. Like
boondoggle. That's a boondoggle.
What, do you have more low lights than 3? That was your last one.
You went first.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Come on, Nick. Get it together.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, like, I want to buy PSVR 2. I want to buy it. Like, I want to play with this cool new technology and get lost and get immersed in it, but they haven't given me a reason to. There's not a single game out that I've seen that I'm like, oh, well, I had to buy it now. And I'm looking to, typically when I want to buy new hardware, especially spending $500 on new hardware, I at least want like 3 games that I'm going to be playing, and they couldn't even do that. Like why are people buying PSVR 2 at all?
Because people like the new shiny box.
Yeah.
I get that. Trust me, I'm that guy. But yeah, they haven't even gotten me hooked yet. Like,
no.
They've relied so much, even with PSVR 1, on the Resident Evil franchise that, like, yeah, RE4 looks great. I'm sure it's going to be a 9 out of 10. It's going to be an awesome experience. But the fact that that besides Call of the Mountain, we still don't have any first-party backing of this thing. Like, Sony still has not proven to us that they believe in this technology. And, like, they keep saying they are. They keep, sectioning off and, like, okay, I'll get ready to see the next wave of PSVR 2. But that I full on expected Asobi to be here to show Astrobot, show us the next thing coming there. Half-Life Alyx at this point, I feel like it's just a bad juju thing to even mention it. But
any first-party support for this platform.
There was
not even one, not just Team Asobi, but just. Is Insomniac working on a VR game? Is any of your other studios working on a game for this thing?
Right.
We're just going to get Call of the Mountain and that's it for the whole year?
Yeah. And like a game like Synapse looks cool. Like it looks cool, but like at some point we have to move past the gliding around with 2 disembodied hands going like that's fun for a little bit.
Right.
But like VR is special because it is able to do things that you can't do in a flat screen. Like my experience with Astrobot, like my experience playing Beat Saber. Yeah, and it's when are we gonna get that big blowout of like here's the like these are, like you said, it doesn't have to be 20 different games coming to it, but where are 5 games to be excited about that's not a Resident Evil game?
Yeah. So, we still won't buy one, even though it is in stores now and you can go in and buy one. I'm just gonna walk by. Be like, nope, not doing it.
I think I'm at the point where if they announce a new Astrobot game, I'd probably be in.
Right.
I think because then I can play Gran Turismo, RE4, Astrobot, and hope that either Beat Saber continues to. I'm sure it will be continued to be supported because that game is gangbusters on that platform. But a Half-Life Alyx level thing.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, the showcase wasn't living up to our expectations, but gosh darn it, if Insomniac did not try to, and that was with their Spider-Man 2 over 10-minute gameplay demo. We got a new Burrow. We got Queens. We got a new suit. And it's not just a different suit for Peter Parker. He is full on using Venom-like symbiote Venom abilities, like turning into a big blob and just doing all kinds of crazy things. John, what were your thoughts? I mean, we got a lot of this game. You could hot swap the Miles.
Yep.
You saw that. Like similar to like Grand Theft Auto 5, switching between the characters. You were able to just instantly transport yourself to where Miles was, and Peter was in Queens, and Miles was like downtown New York, and just boom, right into it. Seamless transition. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Definitely the game of the show. I think that's pretty obvious to anybody who watched it, but I think it looks great. I think that, New York seems to be gussied up and improved. It looks very pretty, especially for somebody has spent about 500 hours combined between Miles and Peter, either playing or watching my son play. It's like I'm pretty used to this environment. So, they're definitely tweaking a little bit of the traversal. It looks like they both have wingsuits now, so you can kind of like fly through the city. When you're in more of the closed corridor spaces, at least Miles has the ability to like shoot a web out and create your own little catwalk, which will allow you to play with the environment.
Yep.
That all looks good, but I will say I think similarly to my feelings on the show, I just kind of expected a little bit more. I think it's going to be great, but when we live in the age of Elden Ring and Tears of the Kingdom and these games that are kind of coming out and like really making you rethink how these games operate and what you can do with physicality, with physics. Physics and physicality aren't the same thing. So, with physics, I just, I was kind of hoping that we would get like, oh my God, you get to do that. Like switching to Miles and Peter's great, but I have played as Miles and Peter. And it seems like the Venom story is kind of the Venom story we've always gotten. And you're the comic book guy, so, you can maybe speak on it a little bit more. But it seems like, Venom's going to turn Peter bad. We're probably going to have to fight Peter. Yeah. We're going to detach the symbiote. I think it is a question to remain like, do you partner up with him or is he going to be a bad guy too? Because I could see a situation where once you get him off, like, and he attaches to Eddie Brock or whoever he does, like some sort of uneasy alliance where like you can switch to Venom now too, because like you're going to use these abilities with Peter. It would be shitty if like they pull those away from you. So I think you eventually will get the ability to switch to Venom as well. You all take down Kraven, and then somehow Venom goes, nah, I'm the real bad guy, and then you fight Venom at the end of the game. That'd be my guess.
I'm with you. If any of those Venom abilities are used in, unlocking rooms or Metroidvania stuff like collectibles and all that, you just know that Peter's going to lose it. It's going to be on Venom, who we assume is Harry Osborn.
Right. Yeah,
and
there you go.
That you'll eventually switch to him, because also it being Harry Osborn
it's
this time.
Okay, yeah, saying that is like definitely going to be able to
and
switch
not
him.
Eddie Brock in this story, which is me making an assumption. That was what was teased at the end of the first game. So, and I do think the final bad guy is going to be Norman Osborn, not
Green Goblin.
Yep, Green Goblin. Not Kraven. Kraven's just going to be kind of like what Silver Sable was.
Mr. Negative.
Or Mr. Negative. Just kind of like, they'll provide the thugs and the cannon fodder, but you'll beat them before that game is finished, and then the final battle will be with Norman Osborn for sure.
So we're definitely getting a state of play where that's revealed before the games.
We definitely
similar to that Doc Ock trailer where it's like, oh, it's you. we all know it's Green Goblin.
I very much think we're gonna see more Spider-Man's rogues. So I think that'll be part of the show. So,
but I showed him this trailer to my son. He lost his mind. So that's good. It'll be a day one, no matter what.
Yeah.
I trust Insomniac. They're great. It just seems like the needle wasn't moved too much.
Right.
Which is fine. Whatever. Not everything can be a Tears of the Kingdom or Elden Ring. That's a ridiculous expectation to even have. But
it'll be in the conversation when hopefully this game comes out this year. They say fall 2023. And then Game of the Year discussion will be probably this and other things. So
Game of the Year is going to be, it's going to be won by Tears of the Kingdom, but it's going to be Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2, Starfield, and Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Well, I have that's my thoughts. I don't know if you have anything more to say about Spider-Man 2 other than
No.
I'm playing it day one.
Yeah, I'm
so.
playing it day one. Again, it's just like, the trailer was exciting, but not at the same time. Because it's like, okay, we're chasing the guys again. We're doing the chase scene. We've done that with Rhino
Yes.
and with
The
Miles
helicopter.
on the bridge. And, so, again, I think that it just felt a little samey. But
Right.
I've also, again, I've spent 500 fucking hours in this world. So,
Yeah,
it's fine. I know I'm an outlier in that regard.
All right, so we can move on to the final thing because Sony wasn't done with much. They also announced new PlayStation hardware. We got 2 items. We got that, and I'm going to issue an apology. Mr. Tom Henderson was right. Project Q does exist.
You got to trust people more, Nick. Just got to trust people more.
Project Q does exist, and if you remember us talking about it on the show, it is basically, I have a picture of it, so... I mean, the listeners can't see it, but look it up. It's a 8-inch LED screen sandwiched between a DualSense. Yep. That's basically what it is. So, it is. It's wireless only. It has to connect to your PlayStation. The games have to be installed on your PlayStation 5, and it's basically a way to stream games at home while you're playing video games. That is a very specific use case for a lot of people. Yeah. Especially for myself, I don't have kids. My PlayStation is already on a dedicated TV that's specifically used for gaming mostly. So, John, you're probably more in this use case, but you also have a backbone. So does this move the needle? We don't know a price, we don't know a release date, but does this move the needle at all for you?
It does a little bit. I mean, the fact that you get a nice big 8-inch screen is a big deal for playing games like God of War Horizon. I'm not playing that on Backbone. And if the tech can be improved enough where it is seamless and no latency in my house, maybe I would want to play a game like that with the dual, because you're going to get the haptics that you get with the controller and stuff as well. But it's all about price with this thing. It will live and die on its price. So I think Sony would be silly to put an OLED in this thing. I don't know if they've confirmed what kind of screen it is.
It's 1080p.
Okay, that's
60 FPS.
That's good because, I think $199 is the absolute highest this thing could be to have success. I honestly could see it being $249, and I don't think it should be. But just looking at it, if a DualSense is already $70 and you're gonna throw that, I don't know. I'm gonna say $199, but I'll tell you what would get me to buy this day one immediately is if they somehow figured out a way to remote play from a PlayStation 5 while it's also being used by somebody else. Mm-hmm. If they can figure that out, I would get 3 of these things. It's I can tell, Levi, go, that's fine. Watch YouTube, do whatever. And if my thing can sneak into the software of the PS5 somehow and pull the game into mine.
No way.
I know, Nick. I know it's no way, but I'm trying to fantasize here. But other than that, no, it's, I think this thing's going to have a tough time. Yeah. And another confusing thing. How have they not named this yet? Why are you showing us that it's not named yet? I don't understand these moves.
Yeah, Project Leonardo, Project Q, things just do not have a name.
Project Leonardo got named. It's the access controller.
Yeah, eventually.
Why are you going to show it off and not have a name for it?
I don't know.
It's just bizarre.
Well, if you were going to name it, what would you name it?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the marketing guy. You can't put me on the spot like that. I don't know. The PlayStation.
No, I think you go because you got DualSense, so it's got to be DualSense something. You have
PlayStation Switch.
Yeah, DualSense Switch.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be dual screen.
Okay.
Dual
All
screen.
Right.
That actually makes some sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious about the price. I don't know. We'll see if it's priced reasonably. Maybe check it out. I don't know. Hopefully someone we know gets it, as we've said with other hardware.
Hopefully I go to Disc Replay one time and I'm like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah. But that wasn't the only hardware announced. They also have some PlayStation earbuds. Again, no price, no release date. They're your typical earbuds. It does have a fancy case. I did like the case.
It's a nice case.
And it does have the PlayStation branded logos.
It's a nice logo.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of like that PlayStation logo around here on PlayStation Pals. Yeah, John, and it said it will work with your PlayStation 5 and it'll work with your phone and your PC and all that. So that's all gravy there. But is there any interest in this?
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if I'm a fanboy in these moments, but the selling point for me with this one is that the fact that they work with your phones too. It's like
Yeah.
I like my Pulse 3D headset, but it doesn't work with my phone. So every time I'm in my basement, because like my routine, Nick, is I go in my basement, play my games. Probably every hour or so, I get up, grab something to eat or drink, and then usually I take my headphones off, and I'll put my other headphones on to play Switch while I'm like doing something else because I am a junkie for time and playing games. And it would just be nice, yeah, if there was a way where I could just like put my controller down, it pairs up to my phone at the same time, it just transfers over. Like that'd be nice. And Sony is, they're first and foremost an electronics company. They typically have great, headsets and things. So I would imagine the quality on these things would be high. Again, price point, I would be loath to spend more than $99 for these.
It's
that
would
would
be more than $99.
Yeah, they're probably going to be AirPod prices.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So like the $149.
Right.
I don't think I'd splurge on them for that, but it does get a little uncomfortable wearing the Pulse headset for a long period of time as well. So like,
True.
Just putting them in might be nice, but
True. So
battery life, who knows? So.
All right. Well, that's it. That is 6 things. Any closing thoughts on the showcase? Like a lot of people seem to think that we're going to get another one now because Tom Henderson's and other leakers have said they've had more to show and they didn't bring it here. So do we think we're obviously probably going to get a state of play for sure, for Spider-Man and other things. But do you think we'll get anything branded a showcase this year that will be the showcase that we want this fall?
If I were to put money down on it, I would say no.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be wonderful, and it would be a pipe dream. But I think this is people trying to rationalize and justify what just happened to us.
Right.
I'm sure they do have a ton more that they could show. I'm sure that they do have, this rumored game coming to PC in July and things like that. It is hard to not feel that way when we went 20 months without anything. Like if we had a showcase 10 months ago last summer, I'd be like, yeah, we're definitely going to get another one this year. But it just seems like the way that they've been communicating and things with the audience is just like less is more. Like we don't need to come out and we're dominating the competition. Right. We have Final Fantasy 16, we have Spider-Man 2. Do you really need another first-party game from us this year, or are you going to be satisfied with the Plucky Squire and, Assassin's Creed Mirage and things like that? So my guess is we're probably going to have to wait till early next year again. That's my guess. I don't hope so, but
the only thing that makes me think otherwise is going back to our low light. Is what are you playing on PSVR 2 later this year? What is the big push this fall going to be?
Yeah.
And I think to do that, you're going to have some kind of showcase of some kind, maybe they'll do just a state of play for it. But
PSVR 2 state of play.
But they need big fall games for PSVR 2 for this platform, and we don't know of any at all.
I mean, yeah, I'll hang up my podcast headphones if Asobi's not working on a VR game. So maybe they're kind of waiting for them to be like, when are if we don't want to show off anything crazy with VR until we have that, because that's going to be our next big tentpole title. We don't have Alex, so we need that there. So yeah, I mean, if they're in a state to show it off later this year, maybe. I don't know, man. Like the way that they've been communicating this entire generation has just been this very quiet, type of thing.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's possible. That seems to be what all the people are kind of talking about right now.
But yeah, it'll probably be a state of play though.
Yeah, that would be my guess. My guess. I would love it if I missed PSX, man. PSX was dope. Like when you would get like this nice little mini E3 like towards the end of the year.
And we are moving into this is kicking off E3 season. Summer Game Fest is here too. June 8th is the big Keighley thing, and he's going to do Gamescom and all the other events. But do you think Sony's going to show up at Summer Game Fest?
They'll be there. I mean, they're listed as a partner. So I mean, I think you're going to see something. I don't think it's going to. We're not going to see factions. I don't think we're going to see Cory Barlog's new thing or anything like that. But they'll be there in some capacity. But not what I think you want to see.
No. All right.
I don't know. I'm a perennial pessimist though. Did you want to talk all about Schreier's article that just leaked?
Yeah, we can talk about it really quickly. Obviously, as you heard last week, and on this show, that Last of Us Factions we would have put money on it. Like if we were gonna bet money that it was gonna show up here, and obviously its absence was felt from this showcase. Yep. Schreier instantly wrote to a report that said basically that the game was coming along. They showed it to Bungie, the experts on live service games, and Bungie was like, well, how are you going to keep people playing it? And that caused Naughty Dog to reassess the game. Schreier reports that they have been pulling people off of it. There's still a small group working on it, but and the game's not canceled in any way, but it's definitely they're scaling back people working on the game. And again, this is all rumor, this is all reports, but it is Jason Schreier. He's pretty reputable.
He won't put an article out unless if it's right. So.
And this also caused Naughty Dog to immediately respond. Naughty Dog tweeted out that they're still working on Factions and they are working on a single-player, brand-new experience. Again, the whole, just like we said earlier, the whole Todd Howard thing of, here's Fallout 76. Don't look at that. We have Elder Scrolls 2. It's coming. And Naughty Dog doing the same thing. Last of Us Factions, it's not what you want, but we still have that Naughty Dog experience coming too, so don't worry about that.
It's just Last of Us 3.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that is, that was surprising and unsurprising, the fact that it makes sense why Factions, I guess, wasn't here if it's not in a state. But it's just, they've been talking about this since Last of Us 2 before it came out of, we were going to have Factions, but it became this unwieldy beast, and it's huge, and it's the biggest project we've ever done, and Druckmann's come out and talked about it and stuff. But, yeah, it's just kind of, again, feeds into that shitty feeling. It's a small feeling. It's like a little grape in my stomach right now of just, nervousness about the future. Because if you can't get Factions to work in this live service space, good luck with Concord, man. Good luck
right.
With, maybe Marathon could do it, but it's a little nervous feeling.
So yeah, we'll see. I mean, something will come out eventually. Yep. Will it be Factions or will they cancel it? I don't know.
That'd be if they would be wild if they cancel it.
Yeah.
I mean, Naughty Dog's reputation is so important that you can't release a stinker, but I think they'll pull in all the resources to figure that shit out, even if it takes 2 years. But
all right, so that's that. We're gonna put the showcase in our rearview mirror and just move on to the normal show, normal format. I expect tons of announcements over the next few weeks that we're going to talk on the show. But for next week, John, what are you going to tease? What do we got?
Well, I'm really excited to do numbers 10 through 1 of our PlayStation Pals Top 50 games.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good conversation. 10 greatest games of all time, objectively. Nobody else is correct. So I look forward to that. I'm not sure if I mentioned this on the show, but I have beaten Resident Evil 4, which is good. We can have a nice discussion about that. I've moved back into Elden Ring. That fucking fire giant is just being a pain in my ass right now. So, whenever I'm feeling a little frustrated with him, I'm getting close. I'm gonna get him tonight. But frustrated with him, I have been dabbling with some Tears of the Kingdom. So maybe I'll have some more thoughts on that.
Yeah, we'll be bringing the games.
Yeah, because that is that is too big to not be able to cross over to the PlayStation aisle to talk about. So but no, man, I think you should leave's on Sunday or Tuesday.
Yes, May 30th.
Yes.
Again, objectively, the greatest show of all time.
It's true. Funniest. Sure.
I think You Should Leave is returning on Netflix on May 30th. If you want to know a lot of the stupid lines that we say on this podcast, just watch that because they're going to go up after this season.
Nick, it was a problem after we got addicted to that show. I think that 50% of our conversations were just quotes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to not bring that into the show. So yeah.
And I also plan on, John gave me my copy of Resident Evil 4 back. I plan on beating it. I did get further, so I'm pretty close to the end now. Unlike John, who got Johnny on the spot about Street Fighter 6 and then didn't play it, letting me down, letting the listeners down. Yeah. That segment is just, you're 1 for 2 now.
I am a piece of shit.
But I did check it out and have some thoughts, and definitely will bring that next week. And it'll probably be announcements next week too. So that'll be it's that time.
Yeah, but we won't be pushing the top 50 back one. We'll be doing it next week. So.
No, for sure. All right, well.
So I can't wait to talk about Balan Wonderland and I can't think of any other really bad games.
Hey, that's a good topic, like the worst games. Even though we didn't play Balan Wonderland, just like some of the worst games we've ever played.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like Saints Row last year that I played and stuff like that. But John typically doesn't play bad games, so.
Time is too precious. I must be very, very curative.
All right. So, what song are we leaving them on this time?
Dude, I've been like, usually when you ask me to pick a song, I'm like, all right, well, let's go. This is the first time that
sorry.
No. It's just because like I was like, I rack my brain. What games? But like I legit found a song that was like, oh, I've been listening to this for the last 2 weeks, and it was like 2 weeks ago when it was your turn. So I was like, damn it, I don't even get to bring it this week. But I stumbled upon a Reddit thread that was what song makes you feel like you can kick all of the ass? Which I just thought was a great way to phrase a question like that. And might not be a shocker to you, Nick, but the first answer was from Doom.
Of course.
So I immediately turned it on, and yeah, it's fucking kick ass. So if you like just guitar riffs and big heavy metal type stuff, the song is incredible. It's called "The Only One They Fear Is You" from Doom Eternal by composer Mick Gordon, who is kind of a legend in that space.
Second time he's been on this show.
Yeah, but yeah, this like I started looking down some other Doom songs, so I might bring some more Mick Gordon to the show in the future. But The Only Thing They Fear Is You is just a badass title with a badass song, and it's just badass.
All right,
Doom Eternal.
If you're listeling while driving, slow down.
Yeah, slow down and turn it down maybe a little bit.
Turn it up.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
All right. So, yeah, next week we'll be back. If you have thoughts on the show, the showcase, please let us know at PlayStationPalsPod@gmail.com or comment on our videos on YouTube at PlayStation Pals or Twitter DMs at PSPalsPod.
Yes.
I think most people know how you.
I know. I'm the social media inept person only on a podcast. So sorry.
So yeah, let us know, and it'll definitely be read on the show. So again, we thank you for listening. We thank you for watching, and we will be back next week with 6 more things. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.